So I want to clear this. Farming is not for poor people. It's not for uneducated people.
Very important.
Actually, farming is for educated people. It's for smart people. It's for people who think. And I'm saying this because this is something we take into our body. This is food. This is what makes us survive. So.
Alright, so y'all come back to another exciting family week in Ghana. Today is a beautiful brand new day, and yes, you are here again on your screen to provide you some insightful knowledge, some inspiring stories to learn about. I'm here to speak to one gentleman known as Samuel. He's various types of farming, from snail farming to cashew to a lot, and he has an inspiring story. He's a banker by weekday, and when it comes to the weekend, he's into farming. I mean, those who are into the corporate world that are venturing into farming, so you can know how profitable, how lucrative it is. I had to speak to him, why he moved from the corporate side to come into agribusiness, and how the journey has been so far starting the whole business. This video is being sponsored by TundeLaniran Farms. They are into the sale and lease of farmlands, and I mean, if you want farmland that are free from litigation, there are no troubles or any issues that come with the farmland, they are the right people to go to. They also have farmlands in almost every aspect of Nigeria. It's a Nigerian-based company, so most of all their farmlands are based in Nigeria. They have farmlands in Osun State, Oyoko State, and a whole lot of other areas that you can get your farmlands at. And their payment terms is also quite flexible. Make 60% down payment, and you pay the other 40% in the cost of you acquiring it. And yeah, there's no litigation, as I said. They have the certificate of occupancy. Everything is done for you. Everything is set. And it's quite affordable too. You are buying farmlands as low as $500. That's 200,000 naira. Things are quite done for you and quite cheap and quite easily. So yeah, get onto their site. Make sure you go there. You can check out their website for most of the information that you want. And things are quite simple. Things are quite easy for you to understand when you check on their website to get yourself some of their farmland to buy. And yeah, they'll get you sorted out. If you're watching me in the diaspora, it's a good news for you. If you're a Nigerian looking to come back to your country to start something on your own, reach out to them to get some of the farmlands, and they'll be there to support you. Everything is done peacefully for you. Everything is done discreetly. Everything is done nicely for you to acquire farmlands and get started in the farming business. Okay, before we get into the video, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please, the liking of the video is important. Subscribe and part of this awesome family, and help share this video with your network. Let people get to know about it. So yeah, without much ado, let's get right into the video. Oh, Chairman.
Mr. Charles.
Nice meeting you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
EduGreen Farms.
Nice. We've spoken for some time now, and it's finally nice to meet you in person.
That's good. How was your journey here?
It was quite smooth. It's not a place that you can get missing. I think from the farm to the roadside is quite okay. So yeah.
You're welcome. We're pleased to have you.
Okay, all right. So yeah, join us as we get into the video. All right. So I'm here with K.T Samuel. We're here to look at his farm. I know he does a lot of things. Today here at the Snail farm, I get to find out more about what he does. Yeah, Samuel, can you introduce yourself to my viewers?
Oh, I'm Samuel Chumesi Granting. So I'm a banker by day and a farmer during weekends.
Okay, sure. What's the name of the company? Is it EduGreen, right?
EduGreen Farms.
Yeah. What does EduGreen do? Like, what do you farm?
Okay, so currently we're doing mango, we're doing cashew, snails, and then vegetables.
And vegetables.
Yes, please.
That's nice. When you speak, you made mention of you're a banker during the weekday and the weekend you're a farmer.
Yes.
Banking, farming. How did it happen?
So it's a funny journey, but I think that how it started was that I have an uncle who is a large-scale farmer.
Okay.
And I took a look at his success in agribusiness. After visiting his farm a couple of times, I thought that there are things that he did that I thought that I could start small. and I believe that was the motivation to how far we have come today.
Okay.
So
He gave the inspiration as to.
yes. I mean, he's also somebody who was in the corporate industry, and then all of a sudden he switched into agribusiness. I mean, why would anybody who is doing so well in the corporate space, working for a multinational company, would want to just switch into agribusiness? There must be something good over there.
Yes.
So I mean, it's good to follow people who are being successful.
Okay. Okay. So you also had that inspiration from him, knowing that he was successful with the farming,
Right.
business that he does.
Right.
So if I could tell, like generally, since you began, or you got, how long has it been since you started?
It's been close to 3 years.
Wow,
Yes.
3 years. So the journey of 3 years, how is farming? How has farming been? How is farming in Ghana? Share your idea, like your perspective. Being a banker and later venturing into farming, how has it been before starting and now being a farmer? How has it been?
Okay, so I think that was a loaded question.
Okay, so let's
But,
take it last.
so
The perception before starting and
Oh.
now into farming. How?
yes, I mean, of course, I mean, we were nurtured to believe that farming is for the poor.
Yeah.
You know, because I, for instance, was born in the village. I wasn't an urban boy. At least I spent my few early ages in the village. So I saw poor people go to the farms, and then the rich people go elsewhere. So I mean, obviously, we were oriented to think that farming is for poor people. But when it comes to today, we can obviously tell that agribusiness is doing well. We're seeing a lot of young people making a lot of money out of agribusiness. People are moving from the corporate sector into agribusiness. I mean, the different supply chains in agribusiness, and they are really making it. As to me coupling banking with farming, it's not been easy. I must be honest. It's not been easy. And if you speak to any farmer, they will tell you that being an absentee farmer is very tough.
So yeah, I can attest to that.
So, I mean, these are hurdles you have to jump.
Yeah.
With regards to changing labor issues, of course, the people who take care of the farms have not invested anything,
Yeah.
so they are likely not to put their heart into it like the way.
If you were to be the one
Exactly.
doing it.
So these are risks. If you're lucky, you'd find somebody who's going to take the farm as his own.
Yeah.
But I mean, going to work on Monday to Friday, and you know, with banking, how busy it is.
Yeah.
And then on weekends you have to come down to the farm. It's tough, but these are the sacrifices that we make.
I understand. It's not easy, actually, being in the corporate world and also being into farming. The combining to finding a fine balance between the two
Yes.
isn't easy. Isn't easy. So I also want to find out, what is your perception about farming? Like how have you seen farming so far since you started till now? Overview of farming. How would you describe it?
I think that with regards to farming, so I want to clear this. Farming is not for poor people. It's not for uneducated people.
Very important.
Actually, farming is for educated people. It's for smart people. It's for people who think. And I'm saying this because this is something we take into our body. This is food. This is what makes us survive. So my perception about farming is that, well, you can start farming, but you need to first do your research. And this is why I say that farming is for educated people. So, because if you do your research, you do your proper analysis, you would realize the profit margins that you're supposed to make in 2 or 3 years. So my overview on today's farming is that it is profitable when you do it well, and when you inform yourself. You don't just go into starting something because somebody is doing it too, but you do your proper analysis before you start, just like any other corporate business.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to know, since you began 3 years ago, what did you start with? Like, what did you want to go into? Is it that the same thing that you are doing now, or like what did you start with when you began?
Okay, so if I'm to get it right, it's about the growth.
Yeah, the growth. So when you began, so normally people want to start There are people who are interested in starting. Some of them are watching us now, but they don't know which area of farming to go into. Is that when you were starting, you had an idea? Okay, I want to go into this particular type of farming because it's quite okay. It's something I can manage. It's quite lucrative to get into. That's what I want to know.
Okay,
When starting.
basically, everybody who is going to farming first looks at the money,
Yeah.
right? But I think that my foundation is from a young guy who has always wanted to own a business. So I mean, from right from the university, I registered my first company in level 300. You know, so I've always wanted to start a business. But like I said earlier, when I visited my uncle's farm and saw the things that he was doing, I looked at things like mango and other things that demanded a lot of attention and a lot of capital. And then I realized that when it comes to snail farming, you don't need a lot of capital. You don't need much. You can even start in your backyard. So I started with snail farming, and then eventually, I mean, just like any business-minded person, I scaled up into other things. Yes. So that's been the journey so far.
All right, all right. So now you do. Okay, I had a snail farm.
Yes. So this is the one of our snail farms. We have two. The second one is in Brongahafo region, and then I wanted one that is closer to home, closer to Accra, that I can drive to at the end of the weekend.
Okay, so that's the one here, right?
Yes. So,
Okay. So what I want to find out is how do you go about the management since you work during Monday to Friday, then maybe on weekends you just come here, maybe you supervise. How do you go about the whole thing?
okay. So on Mondays we do a briefing over the phone, where I speak to all my workers, ask them how the weekend was, how the week is supposed to be. So we plan ahead. We plan the whole week. And then, so I mean, throughout the whole week, everybody knows what he or she has to do. Also, the funny thing is, I don't even spend my holidays in Accra. Most of the time on holidays, that's when I take the opportunity to travel to the farms. So on holidays, I'm on the farms. On weekends, I'm on the farms. On weekends, I visit the farms, make sure things are done right. If we have to do any repurchasing, we do them. I check documentation, how things are being done, the bookkeeping and everything. So I mean, it's not easy, but you still have to do it, because if you don't do these things, the farm is obviously going to fail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I asked because there are people, some people are in the diaspora who like own farms here and they are not here themselves. They also want to know how they can go about the management. Some people too are also intending to also start DS. They all just want to know how the overview works, how they can also go about the management and stuff whilst they are not here. Do you understand my point? Because we all know the challenge about you doing farming and you not being on the ground, as you said, be on the field to supervise things yourself. People can report things to you which might not be the case on the ground.
Right.
So yeah, that's why the main thing why I ask some of these questions. So people who are watching us can also get to learn and also implement them on their farm.
So I'll be blunt.
Yeah.
Somebody in the diaspora having a farm in Ghana. For me, I won't I won't even advise it in the first place.
Why?
But if you have some relatives who you can trust to take care of the farm, why not? You can give it a try. But you must remember that they're not going to take care of the farm like if it were you. I mean, being a corporate guy and still having farms is not easy. Visiting the farm every weekend, you still come to see a whole lot of things you're not happy about. So, I mean, having to live several miles away, thousands of miles away from your farm, I think that it's not too advisable. But if you find somebody that you can trust, then you can do. But however, I would advise that you go into crops that travel a long number of years, like cashew. Cashew, for instance, does not demand a lot of caretaking and pampering.
Yeah.
Like mango. Mango needs a lot of pampering. It needs somebody to be around the trees always, looking at spots on the leaves, looking at some funny diseases, knowing which chemicals to mix to treat those diseases, watch and even find out if it's actually working. I think that something like cashew
Yeah.
is something you can go into. That one, it takes about 3 to 5 years to be able to.
So like basically, if you look at like the perennial crops, like
Right.
coconut,
Right.
all those ones that take a
Right.
longer period of time to
Right.
mature.
Yes, that would be my advice.
That's it. Okay. Okay. That's nice. So let's look at now we're down to snow farming. Since you are here on your snow farm. So you very much do cashew as well. So cashew, maybe you look at cashew some other time, but let's chip in a bit of the snow farming. Is it lucrative to do snow farming?
It is. It is lucrative to do snail farming. However, I'll be blunt again. I've seen a lot of people want to come into snail farming because they think when you go to the chop bar, one snail costs 25 to 45 cedis. So it's a quick way to make money.
Okay.
But my advice is that, and the truth is that it takes a while to be able to recoup your investment.
Why
So so anybody who is going into snail farming and thinking that it's something to recoup your investments in 6 months or 3 months, I would think that you have to relook at it. It's because maybe we'll go into it later, but the snails that in our part of Africa we consume, which is Ghana, is more of the Nwapa. The Nigerians farm more of the pobre, what we call the Acatina marginata. So if you look at the difference between these types of snails, you would realize that the Acatina marginata, which is a Nigerian one, they grow very fast. I would show you their eggs. You would realize that the pobre has bigger eggs,
than
and then Wapa has very small eggs. Now you would realize that the marginata they start laying eggs even after 6 months, but in Wapa sometimes they have to travel for about a year or a year and a half for them to start laying eggs.
Okay.
So I mean, if you start with let's say about 100 mature snails, and then they both give you eggs, I mean, you would have to grow these young snails
For them to mature.
exactly for them to mature, so you can sell. Now, if you want good money or good price, you need to make sure they grow to become sizable, and that can take you for about a year.
Okay.
And if you want more money, you would want them to grow for more than a year. Some people like to sell after 2 years. So I mean, it's something that you need patience. You need to take your time and not rush at all.
I think generally farming itself, you have to have patience. It's not a quick, like, get rich quick venture
Yes,
that you can
yes.
say you can just barge into it.
Well, there are sectors of agri that you can go into and quickly get your money. Things like vegetables.
Okay. Those that take like a short period of time.
Yes, just 3 months, you have your money.
Yeah, but you see, some of these things, it's like when you are starting, you even have to, it takes experience to be able to make sure you are doing them. Or something like, let's say, catfish, that takes a shorter period of time for them to go. You also get some experience, try it one or
Right,
two times.
you will fail a couple of times.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if you say it's not something you want to just go get easy money and just come out, it doesn't work that way.
True,
It takes time, it takes dedication
True.
to excel in some of these things. Okay. So we will zoom later into the snow farm. We look mainly into snow farming. Then he will teach us some of the things you're supposed to know, information that would help why venture into snow farming, how to start your own snow farm, a whole lot of conversation about snow farming. Yeah. So I want to know one thing. I know farming is not easy, and being in the business for 3 years now, you are still pursuing it. What is that drive, that motivation, that gives you to still venture into farming?
Okay, so I think that when I first started the snail farm, I also wanted to test the soil here. So I tried some vegetables, some sweet pepper and other crops, carrots and other things. And it was fascinating how just a few days ago it was a bare land, and then I came here the next weekend and I could see sprouts of beautiful leaves. And when I looked at those plants, and I just thought about it that just a single seed is about to give out a lot of fruits that would feed several homes. I think that part of nature is beautiful. It's fascinating, and that motivates me to keep taking food to people's homes. Aside that, another thing that is driving me is obviously the money.
I like how you just went straight to the point. It's obviously the money.
It's the money.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if it was not profitable, you're not seeing any sense in what you are doing.
Right.
Not getting returns. You won't push and
Right.
go into it.
Right.
Obviously, the money, so many is profitable.
It is.
One also thing, what is the main challenge that you face with all the various farms you are doing? The Snail farm, everything. What you say are some of the challenges you are going through?
Okay. I don't know if the government is ready to hear me. But then
Say it all.
I think that Africa has potentials of being the food bank of the world. We have fertile soil. We have beautiful weather, tropicals. Look, I mean, you can look around you.
Yeah,
look
when I
at-
was coming,
look,
the
look
view
at the vegetation. I mean,
It's crazy.
it's outstanding. We can grow anything in Africa, even by doing greenhouse. We can farm grapes in Africa. So, I mean, Africa has a lot of potentials, and no matter how much we thrive, we'll still need the support of the government. So, I mean, there are things that the government needs to put in place. Fertilizer subsidies. I mean, seed subsidies. I've seen that the government is doing a couple of things, but we need more.
Yeah.
Today, if you need the standard boards to even give you some certification, the amount of bureaucracy that you have to go through, it is frustrating for any young farmer, somebody who wants to help the economy. It's frustrating that you have to go to several offices, have to go to several stages to be able to get licenses to export. At the same time, we have the government talking about the need for us to export. How are we going to export if all these bureaucracies are there to stop us? You know?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is cost of labor. I think that that's obviously a big conversation for us to have, because we have to create certain opportunities to change the direction of the young people into agribusiness. Now, if you come to some of the villages, you'd realize that most of the young people are moving away from agribusiness and going into Okada.
Yeah.
So I think that the government can put in policies that would change the direction of these young people who are going into Okada, and then they can come back to agribusiness. Else, it will get to a point where we would only find old people farming like we used to see in the 90s and the 80s.
Back in the day.
Yes, and it's happening again. So we need to change the focus of the youth back into agribusiness. It would have a great toll on the cost of labor. If you speak to a lot of young farmers, they will tell you how difficult it is to get people to work on your farm.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was starting my vegetable farm, I had to bring workers all the way from Nkoko
Wow. To this place.
to this area, yes, to work on the farm. When we had young people who in the community who live just around the farm, so it is that terrible. It is that terrible. So we need measures to be put in place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, doing business in Ghana is not easy, especially in agribusiness. I think every government comes, oh, we are pumping, we are trying to revive the agri, make it interesting and stuff. But things on the ground is not really happening that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Yes.
And even this youth, the truth is, all the youth wants to, like, everyone is looking at making money quite quick and stuff. People are not looking at the idea of agri now. People are really relegating the idea to the background. You want fast money, you are saying to go and do agri. And even from the normal youth who wants to even venture into it, the money for capital to even start is another problem.
Right.
Because there are people who are interested in going into the business. But where is the capital? Do you get it?
I understand.
I don't know, this conversation, we say you have to go on and on and on. It's but we have like a correct conversation where we look at
another issue is pricing. It is sad that a farmer has to buy quality seeds, put them in the soil, get a pump machine that he refills the fuel and oil of, and has to spend a lot of money on fertilizer and chemicals, and eventually the maize is sold for 50 pesos, and even in some cases less than 50 pesos.
Interesting.
And at the end of the day, the women who buy these maize go to the streets and sell them for 3 cedis. I think that it is very, very unfair.
For the market women, I don't know, some of these things, I think, yes, you're supposed to have conversation around all these things.
Yes, I mean, you can have a huge crate of mango that a company like Blue Skies,
yeah.
or let's say even a startup juice maker would buy it for, let's say, about 300 cedis, a crate of mango. And a market woman will come to you when you are not getting buyers. They'll come to you and want to buy the whole thing for about 5 cedis.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes.
So these are some of the things. Honestly, any business, all the middlemen are the ones who cheat. They come and cheat you because when they come to your farm, they are buying from you. If you don't have your own like direct contacts of people that you can buy to, and they come to your farm, they'll definitely, their idea is to cheat you on the farm.
Yes.
And they will make the money because on the market they sold 3 cedis, 4 cedis for a corn to buy. So I don't know. Some of these conversations you're supposed to like have detailed conversations around this. Sit down, look at it. Maybe have a unified front.
Yes.
Especially with most of the farmers to know how we can go about these things. There are a lot of conversations that needs to be had around these things. And well, with time definitely we'll get there. We'll get there. So let's look at one last thing to wrap up with this video. So there are more of the youth now who there are some who want to start agric. There are some who are unemployed. They really don't even know what to do. They've tried chasing the white collar job, it's not working. If there's any advice we give them, if there's anything you can share to encourage them, maybe those who are looking at the idea of coming to farming, those who have not, they don't know what to do, they just want to start something. What any words of encouragement for them?
All right, so farming is lucrative, no doubt about it. It's lucrative, and in most cases, the market is over there. I would motivate most of the young people to go into farming. The thing is that you need to know what you're about, what you're doing.
Yeah.
You need to first speak to people who are already into it. Know when to plant and when not to plant. Know when to sell and when not to sell. Those are very important things. For example, if you realize that this year, around June, July, a lot of people are doing maize, or they are doing, let's say, cabbage.
Yeah.
It should tell you that the next year you should do a lot of cabbage. Because what happens is that if a lot of people are going into cabbage around June, July of 2022, it means that prices are going to drop.
Yeah.
Because currently we do not have any institution watching these prices. So obviously the demand and supply theory will work here, where there's a flood of cabbage. So obviously the following year, the farmers who made losses in the previous year are not going to do cabbage. So there's always that trend. You realize that the following year there's a shortage of cabbage. So that is the time for you to go huge into cabbage, so that you become one of the biggest shareholders in the cabbage that is being sold. So I'm saying all this to make the point that you need to know what you are doing. Speak to people. It's not all the time that you need a lot of money. Some things or some crops demand a lot of capital. It's capital intensive. Then there are things that you can start from your backyard and then grow it, and then multiply into new things. Something like cabbage. I think that if you pay close attention to the motorway, you realize that a lot of people are going to farming on the highway.
Yeah.
So it means there are people seizing opportunities. So if you have any bare land around you, it costs. If you go to the Ministry of Agri at Accra, you get cabbage seeds that have been reduced to smaller quantities that anybody can afford. If you want to go for a whole can, maybe it will be too expensive for a startup. So you can go for about 10 cedis worth of cabbage seeds,
Yeah.
10 cedis worth of sweet pepper, 10 cedis worth of carrots, put them together, come to your small garden behind your house or somebody's land next to your where you live that the person is not making use of. You can put them in the soil. That's if the soil is quite fertile, and then make something out of it. And eventually you can grow and multiply. And within 3 months, if you take good care of it, you have your money back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. If you want to start anything, let's start. At times, there are people who have like farmlands there, and they are not really looking at the idea. Just start growing something in your backyard. Just start something small. Once you see, there's this fulfillment that comes with sowing something and seeing it grow and it bearing fruit. There's excitement that comes with it. You can just try it. Maybe try it at your backyard, see how it goes. Then later, if you feel like okay, you're excited, you want to know more, go more into it, then you can just put it on a large scale and just get started.
I want to add this that you don't always have to do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
There's power in networking and coming together with other people. So it's important to also have these conversations with other young people who are also willing to put together strength and finances to start up something. And I feel like if you start businesses with people, there's motivation. Because on days where you are down, somebody is hyper, and then they'll obviously give you that positive energy.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd realize that outside Ghana, a lot of young people go into businesses not alone, but with their friends
Yeah.
and people they can trust, and eventually it becomes very successful.
Yeah. There's strength in partnership,
Right.
joining hands, coming together to get started with your own business. Yeah. So I think that would wrap up this video. The next video, we are going to look at the snail farm, look certain things that you are supposed to know, how to start, certain information that are useful for you to start your own snail farm. Yeah, so make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.